Hey everyone, welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. And on today's New York City walking tour, we're going to be revisiting Lower Manhattan, walking all through Wall Street, the financial district, and Broad Street. Now what's currently in front of us right now is 18 Broad. This is the main entrance to the New York Stock Exchange that you'll see right here. And across the street from the New York Stock Exchange is Federal Hall. One thing to note about Lower Manhattan, specifically Wall Street, is that there's not a whole lot of financial activity happening here anymore. Specifically, if you compare it to, let's say, 20, 30 years ago, a lot of the trading is algorithmic, electronic, and there's really no floor trading anymore. Mostly, the floor of the New York Stock Exchange is really used as a television studio for CNBC, and I also believe that Cheddar TV is there as well. So pretty much a historical site, still very beautiful. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this walk started. And our first stop will be right here by the Fearless Girl. The Fearless Girl used to be right in front of the Wall Street Bowl, which is on Broadway. But there was so much traffic and so much congestion that they moved her directly in front of the New York Stock Exchange. We'll go to the wide angle lens just so you can see a beautiful shot of the exchange, beautiful architecture. And unfortunately, after 9/11, they closed the inside of the New York Stock Exchange to tourists. So not everybody can come here. Looks like we have a disgruntled gentleman in front of the exchange as well. But that's the main entrance to get into the exchange. You go down the stairs here, you go through the security, and then you'll be able to get onto the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. If you're ever lucky enough to actually go to the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, you should ask the staff there to take you to the original Buttonwood Agreement. This is now looking at the beautiful Trinity Church right off of Broadway. So this is really where Wall Street starts. Now we're going to walk all the way to the main entrance of Trinity Church for one specific reason, because I want you guys to be able to see the largest office to condominium conversion in the city's history. Now the city has really been struggling with homeless people, crazies, mentally disturbed people, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you will see this from time to time in New York City. This building here, as we talked about, is Federal Hall. This is one of my favorite buildings in New York City. And unfortunately, it's going to have scaffolding all over it for the next 10 years. You can see the famous and iconic George Washington statue standing at the front of the steps all the way at the top. It's very interesting to see how the city has changed over the years. Back in the day, most of Lower Manhattan was offices, and now you're actually seeing a record amount of residential apartments being built right here in Lower Manhattan, because after 9/11, nobody really wanted to work down here anymore. And that set up the city to put more laxed regulations to encourage developers to convert a lot of the old office buildings into condominiums. Now we'll go to the wide angle lens. This building that you're looking at right on the corner is One Wall Street. The developer is Harry McAlow. So if you ever heard of that very famous building, 432 Park Avenue, which is one of the ritzy buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row, the developer who did that is the same developer who put on this project, which now stands as the current largest office to condominium conversion in the city's history. Pointing that out, we do have some breaking news. The Pfizer headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, right on 42nd Street. Pfizer has now closed their lease there. They're moving their headquarters away from 42nd Street, and they have now moved into the brand new Hudson Yards development. Now, the reason why that's so important to note is because that building on 42nd Street that used to be Pfizer's headquarters will now be converted into apartments, which will then overtake One Wall Street as the largest office to apartment conversion in the city's history. Let's go and make a right on Broadway. This is now headed uptown. The next street in front of us is Pine Street. If you continue to go up, you're going to run right into the Fulton Street subway terminal. And if you make a left, that'll take you directly to the Oculus and One World Trade Center. After Pine, you have Liberty Street and Zuccotti Park. And if you remember from the 2008 financial crisis, we actually just passed the anniversary of Lehman Brothers collapse. The Occupy Wall Street protests started in this park just off to the left, where Peter Schiff of EuroPac, or Euro Pacific Capital, did a mini documentary series called I Am the 1%, right here in this park. If you're interested in watching a really good documentary series, kind of like a mini doc series on how the financial crisis started, just look up I Am the 1%, Reason TV, Peter Schiff. Okay, Cedar Street. It's about lunchtime now, so you can see everyone out getting something to eat at the food carts. Because Brown Brothers Harriman. We'll go to the wide angle lens just so you can kind of get a glimpse of how tall the buildings are down here. If we were to make a right on Liberty Street, we'll run directly into the New York Federal Reserve, which is this big building here. I believe some of the world's gold deposits sit right in the basement of that building. We're now overlooking the Hudson River to New Jersey. And right down here on Liberty Street is the 9/11 Memorial. You have the two reflection pools, and then you have the main FDNY firehouse. We're going to cross over by Zuccotti Park and head back to Wall Street. This is a reminder, if you continue to walk down Broadway, you'll run right into the Wall Street Bowl. As we walk down Wall Street, you're going to notice a lot of new construction, and a lot of those old banks lining the east and west side of Wall Street are being converted into condos. We will check out the old Deutsche Bank, which is a German bulge bracket investment bank that used to have its headquarters on 60 Wall Street. They have now relocated uptown to the former Time Warner Centers at Columbus Circle, which is now called the Deutsche Bank Center. And I believe that's going to be an apartment conversion as well, or they're going to kind of core it out from the inside and make it new office space, commercial. This is a beautiful shot of Trinity Church.
And he's like, you never fucking listen to me. And the same thing too.
So we'll pull off to the side here just so you can see One Wall Street. It's the building with the American flags on it. There's about 580 units in the building. It's absolutely massive. And all of the kitchens in the building are the same exact finishes and the same exact fixtures as what you would see at 432 Park Avenue. So they really went all out and made the building super luxury. I think it probably would be selling a little bit better if they didn't go over the top with the luxury, but it is a quite nice building nonetheless. It's a good location, right on Broadway, right on Wall Street. You're sitting on top of Wall Street Station. You can get the 4 and 5 trains, or you can get the 2 train. And to top it off, you have a Whole Foods right in your building. Now in the corner of Rector Street. We'll make this right by King's College. But if we were to continue on down, you'll run right into the Bull. Actually, since we're walking down here anyway, we might as well visit the Wall Street Bull first. If you continue going down further, oh, that baby just fell right out of the stroller. If you continue going down further past the Bull, you're going to run right into Battery Park where they're doing some significant renovations. It's going to look fantastic. This is the 45 Broadway atrium. I noticed a lot of tourists in the city now, which is very good news. This is really the beginning of the main holiday tourist season as we head into the fall. You can see the big crowds for the Wall Street Bull. See all the guys here selling souvenirs. Here we have the Mighty Bull. Wow, and there's even a line. Look at the line. We're now about to loop around by Bowling Green subway station. This is the Bowling Green Park that you see right here. This is such a historical park going back to the Revolutionary War. If you come down to Bowling Green Park, and if you look right here, you'll notice that it looks like there was some sort of object on top of this fence. And there was. I believe he used to be the King of England. And during the Revolutionary War, the revolutionaries knocked these little emblems off the fence, melted them down to make bullets to fend off the British. And the park still stands here today, and it's quite beautiful. Lots of history, and very close to Wall Street. It's kind of a cloudy, very hazy, overcast day in Manhattan. This is now the main subway station for Bowling Green. And where you see all those trees, that's Battery Park. And this is going to go under significant renovations. So in a year or two, this is going to look even better down here for Lower Manhattan. And obviously you can get the 4 and 5 trains. March 12th of 1733. So we'll exit Bowling Green Park to the north, and then we'll get on Beaver Street and head back to Wall Street. One more look at the line. Crazy line. Now merge onto Beaver Street. This is now New Street. All of the streets that feed into Wall Street and the stock exchange are barricaded off. You can notice a lot of the older architecture. These are very, very old buildings. If you ever visit Stone Street, you'll see something very similar. When we make this left, it'll take us directly back to the New York Stock Exchange and Federal Hall, and then we'll make another right, and that'll take us past Trump Tower, the Tiffany Building, and the old Deutsche Bank that used to be 60 Wall Street. So this is the corner of Broad and Beaver. You can see the security checkpoints that were set up after 9/11. You have the bomb-sniffing dogs. So everything needs to be checked going in and out. This is Lehman Prep. This is a very expensive private school in Manhattan. And pretty much all these buildings that we're walking past were converted into condominiums. This is 40 Broad. I know this one is condos and rentals. Lots of tour guide groups.
Let it be, or let we were pronounced Indians, because at times things were not very good between us and the local natives of New York.
One more look at the front of the New York Stock Exchange. And a great view of Federal Hall.
Yeah, no, I don't want to live like this.
Eu não aceito foto.
This is probably one of the most iconic buildings down here, in my opinion. This is where George Washington was inaugurated. I actually have a painting, a very nice art piece of this building, but looking towards the New York Stock Exchange. This is a very unique shot, looking all the way down Wall Street. And if you notice in the distance that big building sticking up, that is Brooklyn Tower. So you can see all the way to downtown Brooklyn. Once again, Stock Exchange, Trinity Church. And now we're passing Trump Tower. This place smells really good. Another notable conversion is 82 Wall Street, which used to be my old office. That is now no longer an office. It is the Wall Street Hotel, which is very, very nice. So if you're thinking about visiting New York City and you want to stay in Lower Manhattan, you want to stay near the World Trade Center, Financial District, maybe give the Wall Street Hotel a try. It's quite literally right down here. We'll check it out. And that is the original site where the Buttonwood Agreement was first signed to establish the New York Stock Exchange. Right there on the corner at 82 Wall Street. Oh. The Cipriani. Just look at that architecture. They don't really make buildings like this anymore. I guess you could consider it maybe like a Greco-Roman style. And under all this scaffolding is the old Deutsche Bank that is now being fully converted. Here's the Bank of New York, founded in 1784. I believe this is a museum. And this is the main Wall Street subway station, the 2 and 3 trains. Here it is. You could have a little bit of a sneak peek into the construction site. This used to look much, much more different, obviously, back in the day. Wow, it looks pretty good in there. They used to have a rendering. I think it's right here. We can check out what it looks like. Work in progress, commercial. So it looks like the main front of the facade is going to be completely changed. And I think that looks really, really good. You can see in a little bit, it looks like they're pretty much hollowing out the entire building. This is Le Labo. This is a very expensive and fancy soap place. It's one of my favorite soap brands. And here we are on the corner of Wall Street and Pearl Street. You have Joe and the Juice Coffee to your right, And to your left, which again used to be my old office, which has now been converted into a luxury hotel. This is it. Quite beautiful building. They kept a lot of Art Deco undertones within the building and within the lobby. So check it out, the Wall Street Hotel, right on the corner of Wall and Pearl. And as you can see right here, this is the original Buttonwood Agreement in 1792. Right here where you're standing, the Buttonwood Agreement was officially signed and executed, establishing the first ever New York Stock Exchange at the time. It was used to be a coffee house that stood right in this spot as well. Very cool. For a little bit of Wall Street history. Really nice lobby. They have a very beautiful bar in there as well. And if we continue all the way down, we're now passing Water Street. If you were to make a right on Water, that would take you all the way to the South Ferry station and the Staten Island Ferry. But we're going to continue all the way down by the South Street Seaport. Now this building to the left was an advertising agency called Droga 5. I believe it still is. And that big building that you see centered in the screen, that used to be the Deutsche Bank. So where we were walking under the scaffolding, that is that big construction project there. It's a beautiful place to visit, particularly in the spring and in the summer. This way you can kind of enjoy the river overlooking downtown Brooklyn. But in the winter it is too cold and too windy down here, in my opinion. We have now officially walked the entire duration of Wall Street. And we're about to cross over by the river, which is a beautiful park, South Street Seaport, and you're going to see the skyline of downtown Brooklyn and Brooklyn Heights. And it looks like the sun's just coming out, thank God. It was a cloudy, overcast day, pretty much all day. If you live down here, you can take advantage of these bike lanes that loops around the entire island of Manhattan and take in these great views of downtown Brooklyn and Brooklyn Heights, as well as panoramic views of the Brooklyn Bridge. The big glass building that you see sticking up right behind the Brooklyn Bridge is One Manhattan Square. That's a luxury condo development built by Extel. Those are the same developers who pioneered New York City's Billionaires Row with 157 West 57th Street and Central Park Tower. If I zoom in on this building, the one that kind of looks like a sailboat just to the left of the welcome sign, that is Olympia Dumbo. That's one of the best-selling condos in Dumbo, which has stunning views of the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, and all of Lower Manhattan. This is Industry Kitchen. This is a kind of an indoor-outdoor dining slash bar. And the outdoor dining setup is quite nice. One of the main things that I believe is going to revitalize Lower Manhattan to really attract a lot of people that want to live down here is the brand new South Street Seaport district, as well as the Tin Building, which we're going to see here in a moment. All right, if you guys enjoyed that updated walking tour of Wall Street, checking out all of the new developments and the changes here in Lower Manhattan, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more New York City walking tours. And we will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.